I'm going to be giving you the best Nintendo Switch settings for Chapter 4 Season 1. These settings will help you get kills and win within this new chapter in Fortnite. Quickly, before I give you the settings, make sure to use code CODIUM when you're buying this new crazy battle pass. It literally takes 5 seconds and helps me out so much as a creator. And with that being said, let's move right on to the settings. So the first tab we're going to be looking at is the video tab, where it has the graphics and advanced graphics settings. I've played a bit of the new season on handheld and trust me, it looks absolutely amazing. So to get the most out of this new look, make sure your brightness is at 130% and your colorblind mode is on Tritanope. And to match Tritanope, make sure your colorblind strength is at 8. Trust me, this makes the game look absolutely insane. Just have a look at the new effects for fire in this game, it's absolutely mind-blowing. So now on advanced graphics, make sure show FPS is on and power saver mode is off. Having show FPS on versus having show FPS off doesn't really make much of a difference, especially in this new chapter. But make sure that your power saver mode is off, because otherwise it can completely ruin your game. So now we move on to the game tab, and the first option you're going to be looking at is the matchmaking region. And you want to be having this on whatever region you're playing on. For example, I'm playing on Europe, so I'm going to be having this on Europe. If you're playing on NA East, you should be having this on NA East. So for movement, I have toggle sprinters off because I actually have auto sprint on. To go with toggle sprint off, I actually have auto open doors as well, which just makes the game so much easier to play. And mantle activation, I have this on hold jump. I've heard that Fortnite have worked on some new mantling in the game, so I'm really excited to see what that is and see how well it's been implemented. Because mantling can honestly make or break some fights. And in my opinion, it's actually quite an important thing to have in the game. Moving on from the movement section, we want to have a look at combat. Having hold to swap pickup as on is actually really important. It basically switches the weapon you're holding to the weapon that's on the ground, without it just going randomly into your inventory. I have toggle targeting as off, but I actually have mock danger when targeting as on. I think being able to target when you're in your ADS is actually much better than just being able to target whenever. I have auto pick up weapons as off solely because I have preferred item slots, and in my opinion I have some of the best preferred item slots in the game. In slot 1 I have shotgun, in slot 2 I have an SMG, slot 3 I have a consumable item, slot 4 I have a sniper / bow, and slot 5 I have an assault rifle. These preferred item slots are actually ideal because during this new season where there's all these new guns and new weapons, it's really good to know where your weapons are in your inventory, so that you know exactly what to pull out during a fight. And because of my preferred item slots, I have auto sort consumables to the right as off. So for building, 3 very common choices: reset building choice on, disable pre-edit option on, and turbo building on. These are all normal stuff, turbo building especially, you need to have this on. However, this is a slightly controversial one, but I've confirmed edit on release is off. Most people have this setting on and think they can edit fast, but trust me, if you learn to play with confirm edit on release off and almost have like double edit binds, trust me, you're going to get so much faster at editing. Obviously, I have contextual tips as off, and these last few settings, such as invert view, just don't even worry about them, don't touch them, and you won't make the mistake of turning invert view on. So all I'm saying is make sure invert view is off, it will just ruin your game. So the game UI section has been switched up a bit for this new chapter, and it's got an entire section dedicated to your reticle. So make sure your reticle and your reticle ammo indicator are both on. I'm not really too sure what this one does, but I'm pretty sure reticle damage feedback has to be on hit and icons. So basically it will respond to not only you hitting a target, but also how much damage you've done. That's all I'm taking out from just reading this setting. And your target type indicator, obviously have this one on. I've been talking about HUDs for a long time, so I'm pretty sure you know that having your HUD underneath 80% absolutely saves your game from a lot of lag and just makes your game just look clean, in my opinion. And on HUD, make sure your show spectator count is off, but then everything else is on until the very bottom one, which would be creative runtime performance stats, which should be off. So now on the motion settings, and I think I've got some of the best motion settings on Nintendo Switch. I spent a few seasons trying to gather the best settings for motions, and I think I've finally found them. Obviously, if I was going to be playing motion, I'd have gyro aiming as on. Obviously, if I was going to be playing motion, I'd have gyro aiming as on. So now for active mode, you want to be having it on combat and building, so that you're always going to be playing motion whenever you have this setting on. So now look stick effect, none whatsoever. Sensitivity 1.4, and the vertical to horizontal ratio should be 1:1. I'll be coming back to steadying later, but acceleration, I actually have this on legacy, and my flick stick is off. This is going to allow me to actually have some of the best settings possible, because it's just so much more in-depth. My scopes multiplier is 1.8, my aiming multiplier is 1.0, my harvesting multiplier is 1.2, my building multiplier is 1.2, and finally my editing multiplier is also 1.2. And the zoom scale sensitivity, I have this as on. Basically, it just helps steady your aim with longer ranged weapons. So now for the advanced gyro orientation, make sure you have these as this: handheld gyrospace as player and controller gyrospace as player. The rest on this doesn't really matter, but those two really are important. It's basically like a dead zone for motion, and it allows you to play so much better. This is going to allow you to play so much smoother, and it will get rid of all the micro jitters that you may have had previously when using motion. And the smoothing window is at 0.110 seconds. And basically it says that a larger window means smoother but more laggy movements. So that's why I've kind of put this on the further end, so that you're not going to be having any laggy movements, but it'll still be smooth. The tightening threshold, I got told this by one of the best motion players I know, but you need to be having this at 50, which is basically the highest whatsoever. And it allows all your gyro movements to be smooth and flow from one to another. And dead zone, 0, completely 0. And advanced gyro options, you can just copy these down because they don't really make too much of a difference. But the only one that's important is driving disables gyro, which you need to make sure you have off. So now this is a really important one for your controller options. Controller auto run I have off because I actually have toggle sprinters off. Very important. Make sure you don't forget this one. Also, build immediately, build a pro. Again, very important setting. You need to make sure you have this one on. So now your edit hold time, you may be wondering why I have this in 0.250, and it's only because I actually have like double edit binds or like double edit hold time binds in essence. I'll just run through that really quickly. So if we go onto your wireless controller like section, you want to be having two different options. So when you're on your combat controls, you want to have switch mode / edit, and also for A, you want to be having switch mode on here too, which for some reason is just invisible right now. So basically the only reason this works is because the edit hold time will basically be placed onto the switch mode / edit bind, which will be on your left D-pad. And obviously I use edit with triangle, so instead of having a 0.250 delay on edit, the delay will be non-existent. Slide hold time, again sliding, a very cool feature that I enjoy, and I have this one on 0.115. In my opinion, I've just been messing around with this for some time, and I've realised that this is probably the best I'm going to be getting. I don't really understand this reset camera axis button, but if you want to have a look, just pause the video and then you can just read it. I'm a bit confused by it, so I'm just going to keep it on your, which was the automatic and like recommended setting. The reset camera time, again, I don't really understand this fully, but I just have this on the default, which was 0.100. I have vibrations off. It's just another thing that you can actually just have off. So now for your sensitivities, very important. Your build mode sensitivity should be 1.8 and your edit mode sensitivity should be 1.6. I find that no matter what you have, you should have this 0.2 difference between your build mode and your edit. It just allows for just more of a control to your game. And obviously you want to be using advanced options. So now look horizontal speed. I have it on 39% and 39%. And my turning horizontal boost I have for some reason on 2 and 2 for vertical. In my opinion, it doesn't truly matter having these boosts on, but I just have it on 2% because I think it's more comfortable for me. My turning boost ramp time is on 0 seconds, but my instant boost when building is on. My ADS horizontal speed is 8%. I think this is perfect. And as long as you match that with the same 8% on vertical speed, it works really well. The highest I'd recommend you to go on this setting is around about 10 or 11. I think if you go anywhere above that, it just doesn't work. And for the rest of the horizontal and vertical boosts for ADS, I have these all on 0%. And I also have look dampening time on 0%. I used to have this on some really complicated like 1 or 2 seconds, but now I just have it on 0, which just allows me to be more in control of my game. My look input curve, I used to have it on exponential, but I've finally changed over to linear. And all I'm going to say is that my aim is now absolutely insane. I'm going to be moving back and forth to exponential. However, right now linear is the way I'm going to be going. But I do definitely recommend you guys who are playing linear to switch over to exponential for a bit. Because if you've only ever been playing linear, switching to exponential is just this slight change that could boost your progress in the game. My aim assist strength is obviously at 100%. We all know how strong aim assist is, so having it at 100%, you know, is basically hacks at this point. My left stick dead zone is at 5% because I have no delay. My left stick dead zone is at 5% because I have absolutely no drift on it. However, on my right stick dead zone, I actually have to have it at 30%. Only because I actually get a bit of drift whenever it's lower than that. Not ideal, but it's got to be done. I think this is another new setting that's been added, but vehicles, I actually have this accelerate with thumbstickers on. This basically allows you to drive around using this thumbstick right here. And tank settings, I don't know if there's tanks. I know there's new motorbikes in the game, which I actually think is a really cool feature. But tanks with camera, yeah, alright, I'll have it on. So now we're on the audio section, and I want to make it clear that this is completely up to you since it doesn't really remove much lag or delay. However, what does remove lag and delay is your subtitles, which I want to recommend you to have as off, extra small, white, none, and clear. Trust me, I've said this loads and loads of times, but some people still actually have these as on. So just to respect your Nintendo Switch, just turn them off. Another thing to respect the Nintendo Switch is to have visual sound effects as off. Another thing you can do to respect the Nintendo Switch is to have visual sound effects as on. No matter how good the game can look, having visual sound effects will always be a bonus so that you can understand where players are. And this voice chat setting, again, is completely up to you. So now we're on the combat control sections. These are very, very important, but they are also up to personal preference. And look, if you're editing with X, I'll definitely recommend copying these settings completely down. However, if you're editing with something else, then definitely make sure to kind of change up the settings to how you like to play. One thing that is very, very important when you're on edit controls is actually looking at your reset and confirm bind and your select bind actually. This is why control edit and release being off is so important. If you have your reset on ZL and your confirm on L and your select on ZR, you can basically edit like this in like a motion in essence. And you'll be editing so much faster, trust me. So now account and privacy, most of this stuff is actually really complicated, but all I'm going to recommend, player surveys off, filter mature language on, very important. Friend invite permission anyone so that anyone can add you on Fortnite, you know, simple stuff again. Text chat on, camera receives gifts is on, auto input friends off, party joinability being invite, public game stats off, and again, the rest of this stuff below public game stats doesn't really matter. Hidden matchmaking delay, obviously if you want to be special and have this on, go ahead, but it's just not my, you know, personal preference. These are probably the best settings you're going to have for this entire chapter, and if you got to the end, make sure to drop a like and subscribe. I'm trying to grow our community of Nintendo Switch players, and subscribing would just do a lot to help the channel grow. With that being said, I hope you get some wins using these settings and have a good rest of your day. Peace.